All right, if you flip to page 2 on your study guide for your final, you can see we have weight or force of gravity calculation problems. And the first thing we need to do is figure out, okay, what do each of the letters stand for? What are the equations for each of the letters? I should say first. So F of G is mass times acceleration due to gravity. Then we have mass, which is F of G over G, sorry. And finally we have G, which is F of G over M. And I want to know, all right, what is G, the acceleration of gravity here on Earth? My guess is from your notes, we'll figure out that it's 9.8 meters per second squared. So as things are falling on Earth, they're accelerating at a rate of 9.8 meters per second. All right, what does F of G mean? F of G is simply something's weight M stands for mass. And finally, the G is acceleration due to gravity. And then we will look back at the problems down here in a second. All right, we have our equations down. We know what the variables each stand for. F of G is talking about the weight of an object, M is the mass, and then G stands for force gravity. So what we'll do now is go through example problem 1 and example problem 2 together. So example problem 1 says your friend has a mass of 58 kilograms. What is their weight here on Earth? So we know right away that, all right, we are looking for weight, F of G. So that's a big question mark. As far as our mass goes, it says your friend has a mass, pretty big hint, of 58 kilograms. So their mass is 58 kilograms. And then G, remember, never changes. And we answered it up here before I scrolled the screen up. It was what's the force of gravity on Earth? That's 9.8 meters per second squared. So if we have all of our variables filled in, that we know the two that we know the one that we don't know. So now it's, okay, which equation do we use? Once again, up here, if we look up there, when we're solving for F of G, we're solving for weight, then what we're going to do is just take M, multiply it by G. That one's simple enough. For me, that's always the easiest equation. So now we can show our work. There, our F of G equals M, so 58 kg times G, which is 9.8 meters per second squared. And then thankfully we don't have to do that on our own. We can turn on onto our calculator on a phone and say that when we multiply 58 kilograms by 9.8 meters per second squared, you're going to get 568.4 newtons. You're like, wait a second, newtons? I had kilograms and meters per second squared. Yeah, remember that kilogram per meter per second squared equals a newton. All right, example problem. All right, example problem 2. It says your friend still has a mass of 58 kilograms. So right away as we're reading it, make our life easier while we're problem solving, we can say, oh, I already identified that as the mass. But now they're on the moon, which has an acceleration of gravity of 1.8 meters per second squared, instead of Earth, which is nearly 10. So we can turn around right away if I don't, and say there's our force of gravity. And it even says acceleration of gravity. So what is their weight on the moon? So once again, we're searching for weight. So we can put a question mark there because we're unsure of it. Then if we go to our mass, it is 58 kg. The acceleration of gravity is going to be 1.6 meters per second, oopsies, squared. Now equation to use. Well, the equation to use when we're looking for Fg, or weight, is just mass times that force of gravity. Now we can plug in our equation here. So we're going to say Fg equals m, just 58 kilograms. And it's going to be multiplied by g, which is 1.6 meters per second squared. And then we multiply the two together. Once again, bust out your calculator, just a handy cell phone. And say that the answer, when we multiply the two together, is 92.8 newtons. So make sure when you're solving these equations, you can feel like, hey, I have a great vibe for this, I know how to do it, it's super easy. And then you get into it down here and you're like, oh wait, what's the, no hurry. Don't rush yourself. Identify your variables that you know. Make sure you're being very clear on what you do know. As soon as you figure out what you do know, it makes it really clear what you do not know. And then use the equation you need to figure out the variable that is unknown. From there then, it's just typing it into the calculator after that point. So this first part of making sure you're clear about what information is given to you will make all the difference. Don't rush through it. Don't make mistakes just because you read too quickly through here.